Since 2006, Mattel has released over 1,000 diecasts from the Disney Pixar Cars franchise. And I'm here to take a closer look at certain characters and character variants. Hello everybody and welcome to the T-Toy Reviews Tie Spotlight Series. Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at Pat Traxson. Cars 3 is all about change, adapting to it, accepting to it, etc. Of course, we focus on Lightning McQueen's struggles as all of the other Piston Cup racers are replaced with next gens, but another group of cars has been replaced, and they've been replaced since the beginning of Cars 3, and those are the Piston Cup staff workers. Why were all these guys replaced? Why was Dexter Hoover replaced with Chris Revstopski? Why was Charlie Checker replaced with Pat Traxson here? That is a story all in itself, and Chris Revstopski is one of the first cars we see in the movie, as Mater drives out of Mac and yells at everyone to be quiet. We see Chris Revstopski right there in the background, from early on, showing that the cars at the Piston Cup in this movie are different. Anyway guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the Spotlight series. Today we're going to be taking a look at Pat Traxson here, a car that I think has kind of gone under the radar, at least in my opinion. He's a really cool looking diecast. He was the pace car in Cars 3. He's been released quite a few times and appeared for quite a bit in the movie. When Cruz first enters the Florida 500, there's a whole scene where she has to try to beat out the pace car here. You can see some shots of where he appeared in the movie here. And yeah, he's in the movie for quite a bit because of this. You get a couple of good looks at him, which is nice. Despite his amount of screen time, Pat Traxson had no voice lines, so I don't have any voice actors to mention for him. And he also didn't get a description in Meet the Cars, unfortunately, although Chris Revstopski did. Something that I found interesting is that after the release of Cars 3, Mattel has done a pretty consistent job at re-releasing Piston Cup staff workers. Dexter Hoover, Chris Revstopski, Charlie Checker, even Race Official Tom and Race Tow Truck Tom, or Tow, or whatever you want to call him, have been re-released. They've been really consistent with getting these guys out, especially Dexter, Chris, and Charlie, basically every year. And Pat falls into this category as well. In 2017, Pat Traxson saw his first release as a single. I remember him being in one of the last waves of the year. This over here is a look at his prototype, pretty similar, although I think the Piston Cup logo may be a bit bigger. Also, his eyes are different. His eyes are bigger and the eyelids aren't gray. He was then re-released in 2018 in a 2-pack with Chris Revstopski in the Florida 500 series, as well as in one of those Amazon exclusive 3-packs alongside Rusty's Cruz and Sheldon Shifter. In 2019, he saw a new single release in the Florida 500 series, and this year in 2020, he saw an 11-pack release in a more recent 11-pack featuring Chick Hicks with headset, Chris Roman, Tommy Highbanks, Speedy Comet, Paul Conrav, Jackson Storm, Fabulous McQueen, Dinoco Cruz, Sheldon Shifter, and J.D. McPillar. So interestingly, he's been in 2 multi-packs with Sheldon Shifter. So taking a closer look at this guy, he is pretty similar to a few other cars. In fact, he's basically identical to Rod Torque Redline in terms of model. Aside from one thing, he's tiny. Look at that. He's basically identical to Rod Torque Redline, aside from the fact that he's been shrunken down. I don't really know why that was. I'd assume they are supposed to be the same sort of car in canon, and they are basically identical in terms of model. I just don't get why he's so much smaller. By the way, he's also the same model as DD05 and Mike 07. He looks pretty similar to DD, actually. But continuing on with our closer look here, he's got a pretty basic expression. He's got like a neutral expression. He's kind of frowning a little. His eyelids are sort of a gray color, They did this with the Apple car as well in Cars 3, just so that the eyelids stand out, because, of course, this part of the eyes is white and the car itself is painted white. On the hood, we have this sort of emblem with the piston cup and then some red, like, shield behind it. We have his light bar up top. And moving on to the side, we have some really cool detail. Also, his wheels are the same as Rod Torque Redlines as well. We have some lights here on the side. The piston cup logo, piston cup is sort of at an angle there. The words official pace car, and some really cool stripes. I like how the checkered flag is also one of these stripes, and the whole shape of it is sort of bent. Got some blue stripes, a whole red, white, and blue color scheme going on. I think it looks really nice, and it's something I often forget is on Pat Traxson. In fact, he's sort of slipped under the radar for me with the amount of re-releases he's gotten. I never really use him in my videos, I never really focus on him, so I always just kind of forget about him. So that's why I'm really happy to be taking a closer look at him today. It's making me acknowledge all the finer details on him. Words official pace car back there. He has an antenna sticking out of the back, a bit bigger than the one on DD there. We also have official pace car. The piston cup logo again, which is like the one on the side, but flipped to be facing the other direction. And we also have the Diecast logo, which is pretty cool. You see, Diecast was a big sponsor of the piston cup. His license plate reads, "I am fast." That's a joke. That's a pun right there. Yeah. This other side, I believe, yeah, it's got the same details as this side, except the piston cup is facing the other way. And there is the base. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time, where the Spotlight Series category is Other, so a car not from Cars 1, 2, or 3. Bye now.